What is going on, everybody? A very happy Friday to all of you out there, PTL Nation. Thanks for being here. Part of the Really American Network, the AM FM dial KSHP, my personal YouTube page at PTL Radio Show. And we got a big show lined up for you today. So we're going to get to this John Bolton FBI raid here coming up here in just a minute. Coming up here at the bottom of the hour, formerly of Nine Inch Nails, lead singer of the band Filter, a personal friend of mine, and a die-hard liberal. I think he hates Trump just as much as I do, which is a lot. Richard Patrick, my friend, is going to be joining us here in just a few. And then hour number two, of course, we'll be joined, as we normally are every Friday, by Nicole Mitchell. So the FBI has just conducted this morning a court-authorized search at former National Security Advisor John Bolton's home and office. And this is all part of a renewed investigation into whether he disclosed classified information in his 2020 book. So I think it's pretty fair to say that this is only happening because Donald Trump ordered it to happen. And Donald Trump is not denying that, which, by the way, is not how the U.S. government or the DOJ is supposed to operate. But this is exactly what Donald Trump said earlier today when asked about this FBI raid of John Bolton. Have a listen to this.
They'll brief me, probably today sometime.
And the foreign minister...
I tell Pam and I tell the group, I don't want to know about it. Just, you have to do what you have to do. I don't want to know about it. It's not necessary. I could know about it. I could be the one starting it. I'm actually the chief law enforcement officer. But I feel that it's better this way.
So he's saying, I could know about it. I could be the one starting it. Again, that's not how the U.S. government is supposed to work. And that's not how the DOJ is supposed to operate, as I said before. And I'm wondering, and I'm calling on all the Republicans in Congress, where are all of you? All of you out there claim you care about the Constitution. Where are all of you? You have the President of the United States saying, well, I could know about it. I could know about that. Of course he does. We know that Donald Trump orchestrated this and called for it to happen. We know that. We know that. I'll get to that in a moment. But here's more on Trump talking about this John Bolton raid. And he starts insulting Bolton again, as he does with anybody he doesn't like. He says they're stupid, they're dumb. Here's him going on about John Bolton, about how he says John Bolton's not smart.
Walk into a room with him with a foreign country, and the foreign country would give me everything because they said, oh no, they're going to get blown up because John Bolton's there. He's not a smart guy, but he could be a very unpatriotic. I mean, we're going to find out. I know nothing about it. I just saw it this morning. They did a raid. Okay, so on one side, he says, I could know about it. A couple moments later, he says, I don't know anything about it. Yeah, I'm sure the FBI just decided to raid John Bolton's home because it has nothing to do with his book, where he put out revelations that I believe to be true about what an imbecile Donald Trump is. Yeah, I'm sure it had nothing to do with that. Is there anybody out there that believes it? I guess there is, because there's a lot of idiots out there that still believe that Donald Trump won the 2020 election. There's still a lot of people out there that believe Donald Trump is the next Messiah. There's still people out there that believe Donald Trump cares about the American people. So, of course, there's going to be some idiots out there, too many of them. One is too many of them that voted for him that think he had nothing to do with this John Bolton FBI raid, or they don't have a problem with it. Again, let me explain again. This is not how the U.S. government's supposed to work, and this is not how the DOJ is supposed to operate. You don't just raid somebody's home because you don't like somebody because of a book that's out. This is another reason why Donald Trump, and I'm just going to say it for what it is, Donald Trump decided to do this. This is John Bolton back several years ago giving the honest answers to Donald Trump, in this case, how he's treated Ukraine. John Bolton speaking out, speaking truth. And this is part of the reason why his home was raided earlier this morning. Have a listen to what Bolton said just several years back.
This was a policy. Donald Trump cared one thing about Ukraine, which was how does it affect his political future? And I can say that every other senior national security advisor, Mike Pompeo, Mark Esper at Defense, all of us felt that we needed to bolster Ukraine's security and were appalled at what Trump was doing. Finally, it got resolved in the near term on the security assistance, but the significant negative consequences for Ukraine, I think, were real.
One last question. In your memoir, you wrote that President Trump wanted to leave NATO in 2018. How close did that come to reality? And we have just a minute left.
Yeah, I had my heart in my throat at that NATO meeting. I didn't know what the president would do. He called me up to his seat seconds before he gave his speech, and I said, look, go right up to the line, but don't go over it. I sat back down. I had no idea what he'd do. I thought he put his foot over it, but at least he didn't withdraw then. In a second Trump term, I think he may well have withdrawn from NATO. And I think Putin was waiting for that.
So there is Bolton openly criticizing Donald Trump. By the way, he's done that for years. And if you notice, they're not like personal insults. Bolton worked in Donald Trump's administration, and he's giving firsthand knowledge as to what happened. I believe John Bolton, even though I'm not a John Bolton fan, I'm probably more of a Michael Bolton fan than a John Bolton fan. But that's another story for another show. But who do you believe? Do you believe John Bolton or do you believe Donald Trump? I said the same thing about General Kelly, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for, who I believe is a four-star general, who said that Donald Trump was the guy who called our brave men and women in uniform suckers and losers. And the MAGA idiots out there, oh, well, Kelly's lying. Okay, so you're claiming you have a four-star general who's lying just because he doesn't like Donald Trump? By the way, John Bolton is far from a liberal or a Democrat. John Bolton, he's just angry because he got fired. Oh, okay, that must be what it is. No, I believe John Bolton. I believe that John Bolton and Pompeo and Esper were all appalled. I believe that. I believe every word that John Bolton has said about Donald Trump. And he's not the only one. There are many others that used to work for Donald Trump that are saying very similar things. This isn't some sort of coincidence. This is who Donald Trump is. He's a vindictive son of a bitch. He's a terrible human being. He's an adjudicated rapist. He's a 34-count felon. He's a guy that has sexualized his own daughter, who bragged about going into teenage girls' locker rooms. We know that he's in the Epstein files. This is who Donald Trump is. He's a scumbag. He's mentally ill. He's deranged. And if you don't kiss his ass, which is why I call this a dictatorship or oligarchy, this is what could happen if you're a public figure. Your house could be raided by the FBI. This is a dictatorship. Come on, go ahead. Anybody convince me that this had nothing to do with Donald Trump? We're talking about the possibility that John Bolton might have put some classified information in his book. Donald Trump is the same douchebag that defied a subpoena for a year. The guy literally defied a subpoena for a year, and he's the guy who put classified documents in a restroom at Mar-a-Lago. But the FBI is raiding Bolton's house? It's mesmerizing to me. And this should bother you as much as it bothers me. And as I said before, and I say again, MAGA Republicans for years, Joe Biden is weaponizing the DOJ. Meanwhile, Merrick Garland took his sweet old time to do anything. You could make the opposite the case. But they said, they're weaponizing. That's Joe Biden's DOJ. They're weaponized. But silence from the MAGA right when all this stuff is going on, right? Bolton's house, silence. Remember when Roger Stone's house was raided by the FBI? By the way, Roger Stone, a 7-time convicted felon, and I did remind him of that on the Piers Morgan show last month. Roger Stone, remember they were crying and whining about how his house was raided? The guy's a 7-count convicted felon. John Bolton ever committed a crime before? Has he ever been convicted of a crime or charged of a crime? I don't think so. But you see Fox News and the idiots out there like Mark Levin and Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham and these idiots like Matt Gaetz and OAN and Newsmax. They think this is great. Own the libs, or in this case, own somebody who, in my estimation, didn't break the law, but just speaks truth to Donald Trump. They're totally okay with this. They don't care because the rules don't apply to them if it's somebody that they don't like minorities, like undocumented immigrants that have lived here for decades, brown people. They don't care. But, if a white insurrectionist beats a police officer with their own baton, they're hostages and patriots. You see where I'm getting at here? If you don't kiss the ass of Trump and you're not white and you don't have Nazi tendencies, then you're a patriot and you're a hostage. But the second you call out Donald Trump and the second you speak truth to power and you have a platform, your house could be raided by the FBI. You should all be concerned about it because I'm damn well right that I am. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, he is a brilliant musician, and he's one of lead singer of one of my favorite bands growing up as a kid. I'm 45 years old now, so I've been a fan of the band Filter for a very, very long time. Of course, he's also formerly from original guitar player for the band 9 Inch Nails. My good friend Richard Patrick's going to be joining us next. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this, and on the other side of the break, after my interview, of course, we will also take phone calls. Be back right after this. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here.
Check 1, 2.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. Programming note for you, we got some very special guests that are going to be joining us on the show next week. The Mooch, Anthony Scaramucci, Luke Beasley, working on getting Adam Mockler back on the show next week too, former presidential candidate Joe Walsh, and many others. So certainly stay tuned for that. And Nicole Mitchell's going to be joining us in hour number 2, by the way. So the guy joining us on the show right now, I grew up with his music. I think I've been listening to his music ever since I was like in middle school, and I'm 45 years old now. He is the former lead guitar player of the band 9 Inch Nails, and of course, longtime lead singer and original founder of the band Filter, my friend Richard Patrick, joining us right now on the show. Richard, it's good to see you, my friend. How you doing?
It's good to be here. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear, my friend. Loud and clear. I don't mean to make you sound old, Richard, but I have been listening.
Look at me, dude. Are you kidding? I got gray hair. I
don't have any hair, so you got me beat there. I don't have any.
Yeah.
Congratulations, by the way.
Look great.
Congratulations, by the way, on the new album that's out. We'll certainly talk about that. For the record, I just want to be clear. Your house has never been raided by the FBI, right?
No.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make that
note to self.
Just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah.
You know, you've always been opinionated when it comes to world issues and stuff, but I wanted to tell you a story and get your thoughts on this. Aaron Lewis, the lead singer of the band Stained, who I consider to be a complete and utter douchebag. I'm seeing his show last month, and after every song, he's making it about a politics. Every song he says, "God bless Donald Trump" and "God bless JD Vance," and I just wanted to vomit. Like, what do you make of musicians these days doing that?
On one hand, like the band like The Clash,
Mhm.
a band like U2, a band like John Lennon, Bruce Springsteen. I think it's extremely bold and awesome. I used to be extremely opinionated too politically, and then I started getting death threats, and I couldn't really. I had to keep my mouth shut because they kind of backed me into a corner. You're alienating half of your audience, when you get really political. And the reality is how many minds are you going to change? You know what I mean? And I think Aaron he's probably making a mistake, and he's probably, I mean, I know he wants to speak out and everything like that, but I think he's probably alienating a good chunk of his audience, because at the end of the day, I mean, I hate to say it, but we are singers, and we are people that are supposed to bring a little happiness to the world. That's what I realized, is that, you know, it's because of the death threats, it made me realize, like, there's just some people you can't connect with.
That's true.
And you're an expert. Like, you are on the right side of history. You're an expert at confronting, and hero in my view, for
That's nice of you
confronting.
to say. Thank you.
No, it's we are in dark times.
We
We
are.
are in very, very dark times.
And this
And
is Richard, this isn't even a political issue. It's just a compassion issue, right? I mean,
yeah,
what do you make of, people not getting due process in this country? And I think
no,
of, like,
it's
people
awful.
that are living paycheck to paycheck that are struggling, right? And they're going to lose their Medicaid. Many of them are going to lose their food stamps. It's not even really a political issue. Isn't it a compassion issue?
Yeah. The first thing that Elon Musk did in Doge was get rid of the USAID.
Mhm.
And that is the organization that is probably 0.1% of the budget that feeds the poorest people on earth, like the poorest people on earth. And how many people are going to die from that? And
Oh, tons.
and it's just awful. We used to be like a compassionate country just 4 years ago, or 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And now it's just this dark, abysmal, sad place. And I love America with all my heart, and I
Mhm.
love everything that this country stands for. And I think, and we're a country that has made horrible mistakes, with slavery and the genocide with the Native Americans. And the fact that they're getting rid of that in the Smithsonian,
Yeah.
it's mind blowing. And sure, we have to be positive, and we want to have good thoughts about the great things about this country, but we have to reflect on where we've been, because we're doomed to make, if you forget your past, you're doomed to make the same mistakes.
Mhm.
And I just I just think that I just think a lot of MAGA is very destructive, and I think that we really, really need to, like, loosen up and talk to each other and be compassionate towards each other and learn how to listen. I mean, the idea that woke is, is a bad thing and all this stuff, and it's just, woke is being aware of racial prejudice. That's all
Right.
it means.
Right.
That's
Right.
all it is.
It's awareness, being aware of your surroundings, being aware of what
Yeah.
I agree with you. So if people want to call me woke, they can go to hell as far as I don't care.
Yeah.
Fine. Call
Yeah.
me woke. I don't care. I mean, I just look at what's going on in this country right now. And obviously music is one of those things that really brings us together, at least in my eyes, in my personal opinion. But, think about it. If I told you, 10 years ago that a reality TV star, guy that was a reality TV star would be the president of the United States and all this stuff would be going on in this country, Richard, would you believe me?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. And the other thing is that the fascistic behavior of this administration is quite alarming. And I just, it makes me, the wonderful thing is I have lyrics, and I don't need to explain my lyrics to anybody. I
Right.
can have lyrics about anything I want, and I am so grateful that I'm allowed to pour my political thoughts into my lyrics. And I implore people to listen to my music, maybe to learn something and not be alienated, but like, we're all on this tiny little ball in space, and it is we are to the point where we're polluting it, we're hurting it. And we need to really, because that's my issue, is the environment. I really care about the environment. The attack on just science, from the right, is just appalling to me. It's just like, dudes, we have climatologists and astrophysicists telling us what we're doing by burning all these carbon fuels, all these and just the lack of care, and I mean, I buy a Tesla and the guy turns out to be a nut. You know what I mean? And I
It is
it's just,
interesting.
we live in a crazy world. It is bizarre. It is a bizarre, strange place. And up is down, down is up, and blue is red, and red is blue. You know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah, of course.
and
Richard, you're a family man, right? You have a beautiful family. Can you imagine what it must be like for these some of these undocumented immigrants that are trying to do it the right way, that are being ripped away from their family right outside a courtroom or in front of a Home Depot? I mean, you're a good father, you're a good husband.
Yeah.
Like, imagine what these people are going through.
Is it going to get to a point where I'm going to have to say to an ICE agent, hey, man, my guys came over way after, about a few ships after the Mayflower, and my great grandfather was Jacob Patrick, and he fought in the Revolution. Do I have to explain myself? You know what I mean? Am I going to have to get to a place where are we going to have to get to a place where we have documented, trajectory to when we came over, and you know what I mean? Like it's just so sad that it's not an inclusive, wonderful country where, like, hey, okay, you're from another country. Well, the brain drain that is going to happen with people. Did you hear about the guy that taught at Harvard, and now he's fed up, and he's moving to Toronto? It's a brain drain. You're, as opposed to getting people excited about coming to America and being smart here in America with exchange students and colleges and stuff like that. We're freaking people out. Look what's happened to Nevada. Nevada is experiencing a tourism drought, and the reality is Canadians are afraid to come to America. Canadians.
You're right. They are.
I mean, they're afraid to come down to Vegas.
I get people that call into this show from Canada. 20% of my listeners are from Canada. I get people calling in all the time that say that they don't want to come here right now.
Yeah, and this is not the message that it should be an inclusive, wonderful place where everybody gets there's three things, in my opinion, as far as political. Number one, this is our small little planet. We have to take care of it. Number two, I forget what number two is. Number three, everybody everybody deserves a fair shot. Like everybody, all people deserve a fair shot in life. And that's, that's what America was to me. That's what America is all about, is that we are trying to help each other. And it doesn't matter if you're Christian, it doesn't matter if you're Jewish or Muslim or a Satanist or whatever. You are we should all work together and solve the problems of the world. I mean, if I could make a wish, if I met the genie in the bottle, the first thing I would wish for is that people would learn how to get along and work on the problems of the world, and put away their differences and work together to solve the problems of the world.
Yeah.
And that's all we need to do. And it's so tit for tat and I gotcha and I mean, it's just wild.
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom is tweeting like Trump, and it's hysterical.
It is.
And it's funny because Fox News is like what why is he doing that? And it's like, are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
he's doing it to show you what we've been dealing with for the past 10 years is from Truth Social. He's tweeting like this crazy man from and he's supposed to be this authentic president, and it's like, are you kidding? He's a little wacky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
At a
To put it
minimum.
lightly.
Yeah.
To put it lightly. And
Yeah.
so, again, I'm not like some extreme leftist or something like that, but I just believe that, and I don't think it's both sides. I don't think it's both sides. I think that's a false equivalent. I think the right is really, really,
Oh yeah.
they are very extreme right now.
There was a time where Republicans and Democrats were able to sit down and talk civilly and
Yeah.
disagree, but maybe meet somewhere in the middle. That time is gone. On a lighter note, do you, because you've been around a while, not to compare you to Dean Cain, because you're very different than Dean Cain and you're far more talented, but do you know Dean Cain? What happened to this guy? He wants to be an ICE agent now?
Yeah, I met him briefly here at the production place that they did a movie called Little Angels. And he seemed like just a nice guy. I watched his movie and I gave him some pointers on what I thought was lacking in the film, or I thought it was a great little movie. But yeah, ICE and all the stuff he's getting involved in, it's just wild. I mean, and for his career, I don't know how good that was. You know what I mean? Like,
Probably not smart, but Fox News loves it. They have him on all the time. Can you imagine? And I'm just going to be honest, what a sick person you have to be to want to say, geez, I'll really enjoy ruining people's lives and throwing mostly non-violent criminals to the ground and separating them from their families, and somehow take an enjoyment out of that. And then Dr. Phil is there with his microphone. And look, Obama deported a lot of people, but they weren't gloating about it. They didn't have Dr. Phil there. They weren't, taking people out of classrooms and schools and synagogues and churches. It seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, the people that are doing this, it's like they enjoy it, like they get off on it.
Yeah, it's wild. It's a very strange, and I mean, I'm sure he was a really nice guy to me. I think he believes that, like, oh no, these guys are bad hombres, or as they've been described and all that, and it's just like, wow, do you really think that, like, the guy that produced 3 Marines, his sons became Marines, you think that guy should be arrested and deported? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I get that you can't be here illegally, but like, wow.
Yeah.
You're just gonna, and it's just this, America was this inclusive, bring me your tired, the Statue of Liberty, the poem at the bring me your tired, you're poor, you're weak, and your huddled masses. And it just, when I was a kid, that's what we were growing up with. Like, even from the Republican side, even from Reagan, I mean, he talked about the shining, city on the hill, and it's just become this alienating, xenophobic place. And so I hope I haven't really gotten too political. I'm sure my manager is probably going to call me and be like, "What's up, dude?" But the
No,
reality is
yeah,
the reality is I love America, and I'm sickened by what I've seen in the last 10 years because of uh, this 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 fascistic, autocratic behavior, and weaponizing the FBI, like
yeah.
all this stuff. And
John Bolton being his home was raided today.
yeah, and you know we had an election denier sit there and lie about an election
Right,
with no facts. 60 courts came up and said, hey, there's no evidence of wide scale voter fraud.
right.
And then January 6th happens and no one's held accountable for that.
Nope.
And
Right.
and they said that we were weaponizing, or the left or whoever, the people, Merrick Garland, who took way too long to do anything. He was just actually, I mean, this is what Mitch McConnell said to do, which was to, hold him accountable outside of impeachment. But what's impeachment for? Like they were partisan when when he wasn't impeached. Like
Hmm.
the Senate should have done the right thing and said and held Trump accountable for all the misdoings that he did. And
Right.
it's just wild.
Yeah. No, it's
I mean,
extremely.
it's just
Yeah,
wild. And I love this country with all my heart, and
I know you do.
I and I love the people in it. And I've I can't, politics has become like, I can't talk politics with members of my family. Like I can't talk politics with friends of mine, some of them. And
Oh yeah,
it's just like, and the stuff that you hear is just, it's just
it's
mind
terrible.
blowing.
I
And the
wanted to ask you.
bubbles, the
I,
two bubbles,
yeah, oh, no question.
the left
Yeah,
bubble and the right bubble. And
right.
I
Yeah,
I try and watch real news that is, reflective of the reality of what's happening.
right.
And I mean, I realize there probably was a slight bias, for legacy media, but at the same time, it's all about holding the
Yeah,
government accountable. And
right.
Watergate and everything like that happened was gigantic. And now it's like there's a new Watergate every other day with this administration.
Oh, every day. Right.
There's an abuse of power
Mm.
every 5 minutes, especially with the Michael Bolton, or the John Bolton thing.
I said
Michael
Michael Bolton.
Bolton.
I said, have you ever met Michael Bolton, by the way?
No, he's a great singer, though.
He
He's
is.
a
He is
great
really good.
singer. Yeah.
Speaking
Yeah.
of singers, let's try to have a little fun here and talk some music, Richard.
Yeah.
Do you still speak with Trent Reznor? Do you guys have
Oh,
any relation?
absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I did the reunion with Trent in Cleveland
Mm-hmm.
with Nine Inch Nails, and he was so awesome. He actually had me play "Hey Man, Nice Shot" with Nine Inch Nails. So
That's so
I
cool.
mean, we're great friends, and we text all the time. And I'm looking forward. He's going to have a show here in September, and I'm going to go to it, and it's going to be a good time.
I was in Hawaii a few years ago, and I think I texted you this. I was just at some open mic, and a really talented musician was up there singing some alternative rock songs. And he gets up there and he sings "Take a Picture." And
That's awesome.
I texted it to you. This was a couple of years ago, and I think you texted me back something like, "That's when you know you made it," right? When people are playing your song. What does that feel like to you, Richard? I was in San Diego last month, and I think I sent you a video. I'm just walking around in this indoor mall, and they're playing "Take a Picture," and I'm it's like, what does that feel like? It's like if someone played my show everywhere, like it's just so cool.
Yeah, well, it's wild. I have made some music that really has connected with people, and I think that I think it's awesome. And it's it I mean, that was the goal when I left Nine Inch Nails. I was like, I just wanted to kind of have my own platform to
Right.
sing.
Yeah.
And man, it worked out. because
It
that was
worked
a
out pretty
pretty
well. Yeah.
that was a pretty ballsy move to leave Nine Inch Nails before they even got even
Yeah.
huger. Like they
Oh,
became
I
massive.
think your decision was
Yeah.
spot on with what you did. The story's interesting, but I
Mhm.
had to ask you about this. Everybody our age, or even in their 30s and 40s, have heard of the movie or watched the movie The Cable Guy. There's a very famous scene in The Cable Guy where Jim Carrey dunks the basketball, and throughout this entire scene, they're blasting, "Hey man, nice shot." Can you explain to the listeners how "Hey man, nice shot" got in the movie The Cable Guy?
Ben Stiller was a friend of my brother Robert, and Robert had suggested, Ben, you should check out my brother's band Filter, and Ben was like, oh, I know Filter. So Ben Stiller literally was in the mosh pit during our performance in Los Angeles, and they raised him up, and he was crowd surfing. He was crowd surfing to "Hey Man, Nice Shot," and I think he remembered how much he liked "Hey Man, Nice Shot," and he wrote it into the script
That's
and
so awesome.
used it as a song. And it was a really sweet thing that he did, because it gave us more exposure. And this is back when they really paid you a lot of money too back then.
And that's
And
my favorite scene in the movie. It's the scene when
yeah,
Jim Carrey breaks
yeah.
the window backboard dunking
Over Jack Black.
right. And I love Jack
Over
Black.
Jack Black. Everybody loves Jack Black. Yeah.
I love Jack Black. That's such
Yeah.
a funny scene. And I just,
Yeah.
every time I hear that song, I'm always thinking about The Cable Guy. Always.
Mhm.
No, it's a great song. When you write a song like that, when you're writing a song like Take a Picture, or you're singing it in the studio, you hear the final piece for the first time. Do you know right away, man, that's going to be a hit? Like, do you feel it?
When I wrote the guitar part to Take a Picture, and I got to the chorus, and I said, "Hey, could you take my picture because I won't remember?" I just was like, that's a hit. I was like, this is a hit song. And I kept championing it in the recording process, because everybody was like, what are you doing? It's so light and airy and beautiful. And I'm like, it's luscious. And that was the reason why I wanted to sing about like the crazy lyrics of like being an alcoholic and like having problems and stuff, because the music was kind of like the effect of being on drugs. Like, it's this beautiful, soft, wonderful world. But like the lyrics are all about the reality of like, okay, so you can't remember this because you're gonna be hungover, and you're blacked out or whatever. And could you take my picture because I won't remember? It's all about this, so. And I really didn't even know at the time that it was so much about like alcoholism. But when I got sober and I looked back at it, I was like, this was a cry for help.
Yeah, and you were very close to speaking of a cry for help, the late Chester Bennington and Chris
Yes.
Cornell. You had mentioned that Chris Cornell saved your life in rehab, and now we lost two incredible musicians that were very close friends of yours. That had to be very difficult for you.
It was awful. Chris was he was in the rehab when I got there, and he says, dude, I don't know if I'm dead and I'm in heaven, but like there's blonde girls walking around here. There's a chef in the kitchen making us an amazing meal. They're giving us Klonopins or whatever, because you have to come down from the alcohol and the drugs. So they give you like Xanax and Klonopins that relax your nervous system.
Right.
And he's like, maybe this is heaven. And then I had like the realization that it was a 12-step program, and I'm not really I'm not a very religious person. And I was thinking about like leaving, and he goes, Richard, don't leave. This is the only game in town that really works. And like,
Wow.
you have to give this a shot.
And you were at his funeral, right? You were there.
Yeah.
And Chester Bennington, of course,
sang
he sang a song there, and then not that much longer later, he takes his own life. I mean, it's just it's so sad.
Alcohol, and there's no. They were both drunk when they did it. They were both on drugs when they did their suicides.
You think Cornell was suicide, or do you think it was unintentional?
No, I think it was probably a suicide. I mean, he was playing at the show in Detroit, and you can see on the video from the show that Kim was like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you like high?" And Chris was noticeably kind of out of it.
Mhm.
And you could tell that there was probably, that's the thing. I mean, Chris was using drugs and alcohol, and he was and I just remember it was something like, I just remember him saying, like, I'm going to take out the middleman if I ever fall back into drugs and alcohol, meaning I'll get rid of the drugs and alcohol. I'll just make it easy. I'll just kill myself,
It's
kind
so
of thing.
horrible. It's so sad. What a talented man and a beautiful family. Another band
Yeah.
that you were a part of, and I see some people in the chat right now saying, I miss Army of Anyone. That was Richard as the lead singer with the DeLeo brothers from Stone Temple Pilots. But, Scott Weiland,
Yeah.
overdoses. I don't think that was intentional.
Yeah.
There's another guy that really,
That was unintentional. Yeah.
yeah, and he suffered. And
Scott suffered horribly from
Yeah.
alcohol and drugs. He really, really had, and we used to fight like online. And like
You and Scott,
I got into a thing where someone was recording my conversation, and they were like doing an interview, and I was fed up with it, and I just was truthful, and I said, "What's it going to take for Scott to get sober?" Because I mean, like and then they showed a video of his performance in Michigan, which was just really bad. He was so out of it.
Yeah.
And he he later ended up dying, but it's the people have to realize drugs and alcohol, like when you're an addictive person, it's a disease.
Yep.
It's an absolute disease. And we can't blame these guys. They just suffered horribly from drug and alcohol addiction.
No, you're right.
And I mean, whether it's Kurt Cobain, Kurt didn't want to kill him. Like, Kurt was so high on drugs that he, you know what I mean? Like, you get to this place where you just get defeated, by like, I can't live without it. And it becomes so frustrating and awful that you just feel like taking your life. And I got to admit, right before I got sober, I was like not happy with my life. I was looking around like, that building's tall. If I made it up to the top of that building, I could probably kill myself off it. Your mind your mind goes to these places, and you start making a plan. And that's when I was like, are you seriously considering in your head? Like, are you serious? And so when I got sober, I just took it very seriously.
It's why I don't like it. It's why I don't like it, Richard, when people commit suicide and then others that don't know them how could you do this? You left behind a family and kids. Well, it's horrible, but you have no idea the pain that this person is going through, and the money you have or how famous you are has no difference in that moment. It doesn't matter how successful you are, and that's what
Chris had everything. Chris wrote one of the most definitive records of all time, The Super Unknown.
Sure. Yep.
One of the greatest records of all time. He was best friends with Brad Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had a beautiful wife. He lived in Beverly Hills. He had everything. He had absolutely everything, and he was not happy. And that's what the disease is. The disease makes you sick in your head. And so when he found out he was dying, or when I found out he was dead, I just completely lost it, because he was the guy that kept me in rehab.
Saved your life.
When I was there. And so, but see, for me as a recovering alcoholic, there, by the grace of God, like, if I'm not careful, and if I don't keep a rigid stance on my sobriety, if I don't keep a serious program on my sobriety, there will I go. Maybe I'll drink and think it's okay to get wasted once, and next thing you know, I'm off the deep end. And so I learned, you have to learn from what your friends are doing in this program. I'm not going to mention the name of it, but it's a program of It's an anonymous program of people that want to stay sober together, and that's what it teaches you. This program teaches you that like death is real and it's all around the corner. And like, I mean, you go to a meeting, you go to one of these meetings, and like so and so, remember that little 25-year-old girl that yeah, she hung herself. Like, what?
So
Like,
horrible.
it's so terrible. So
you never know what somebody's going through, and
I also wanted to mention to people that are hearing me, if you're suffering from alcoholism, like there is hope. You can get sober. I've done it, and I was wildly out of control on alcohol and booze and drugs and stuff like that.
I am
And
so glad that you got the help you needed, Richard, and you've been
Yeah.
doing so good. On a lighter note, I could say I'm wondering what do people do when they have Trump fellatio syndrome? I'm sorry, that was a terrible joke. I apologize, Richard. Terrible joke. There's a lot of people that I know that I debate on the Pierce Morgan show that have that disease. I don't think you can cure that, Richard. I don't think you can. I definitely want
to. It's like trying to tell someone there is no God. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, I'm a bit of an atheist, but like, if someone really believes something, they're just going to believe it, and that's their reality. And so you just have to accept the fact that some people aren't going to change. They're just not going to.
Unfortunately, as you once told me, you were the one that told me this. You can't help people that do not want to be helped. You told me that after I lost a loved one, and it rings true to me today, Richard. Hey, before I let you go, I love this new mix album you got going on, Algorithm. Can you talk to me a little bit about how you put this album together and how people could get their hands on it?
So the original version of the Algorithm came out a couple years ago, and it wasn't promoted properly. So we got it back from the old record company, and we re-released it with 5 new remixes, 2 covers, and a new song called All the Good. And it's basically the Algorithm Ultra Edition. And it's an amazing new piece of music that we've got. We remastered it so it was in analog, so it's a little deeper and richer sounding. And it's just awesome. The response from the fans has been they love it, and they want us to make vinyl versions and CD versions and everything like that. So we're gonna try and make a bunch of that. But it's been streaming and it's already got millions and millions of streams. And we're really proud of it. So it's the Algorithm, the Ultra Edition, Algorithm Ultra Edition, and it's available anywhere you can stream music. And it's got heavy music and soft music. I do this beautiful cover of, I'm really proud of it, a cover of A Sort of Homecoming from U2.
Yep.
And it's a tribute. It's me literally replaying all their instruments as tightly as I possibly could, and then I sang it, and people were like, "Wow, you better bring your A game if you're gonna sing Bono. If you're gonna recreate, if you're gonna cover Bono." So I did, and
I love it. I love it.
I think I nailed the performance.
It's
and
it's phenomenal. My favorite. You did a great job. My favorite song on that album has always been Obliteration. I love it.
Right.
I listen to that song almost every day. And of course, your songs from way back when, Welcome to the Fold, is one of my favorite ones as well. I'm old, Richard. I usually don't move around too much at concerts, but when you start playing Welcome to the Fold, I lose my, I go crazy for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, always do at your shows, my man. And I can't wait till you come back to Vegas. By the way, for the record, I did help Richard win money at the blackjack table last time he was in Vegas. I just wanted to brag.
You did. We went to, what was that restaurant?
It was like a steakhouse at Mandalay Bay, right? We grabbed
It was a
dinner.
steakhouse.
Yeah,
it
you
was
can tell
the
the
most
story.
expensive. It was probably the most expensive piece of meat I've ever paid for in my life, and I felt guilty. And
I thought Stormy Daniels was. I'm sorry, terrible joke. Go ahead. That was 130,000. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm very immature, Richard. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I paid for. Oh wow, that was good. I bought this steak that was so expensive, and I felt a little guilty. And you're like, no problem. Let's go to the blackjack table, and we won back like $300 or $400 or something. And I paid for the meal, and I was like, And you were so awesome. You were so good at gambling, dude. Like you really have a talent. Like there's a lot of talents with you, man.
There's a
You
lot of
you get
talents and there's a lot of things I'm really bad at. Okay.
yeah.
Really bad at. We are very similar when it comes to that stuff. There's
Mhm,
things I'm really good at and there's things I'm really bad at. But
mhm,
Richard, everyone out there has got to get this algorithm. It's so great. The cover of U2 that you did is amazing. It's so
mhm,
great. I love it. I love the original Algorithm album, and this
mhm.
is even better. So it's so cool. Hopefully, I know you just had some surgery, but hopefully you'll get back
And
after touring again.
y- yeah, well, I'm gonna heal up. I got this neck issue I gotta deal with. But there's for the song Obliteration, there's three remixes.
Yeah.
One's done by Sean Bevan, another
Mhm.
one's done by Charlie Clouser from Nine Inch Nails, and
And you did
Sean
one.
worked in Nine Inch Nails, and then I did a remix
Yep.
too.
Yep.
So the Obliteration's well represented
Yep.
and reimagined on the record. So
I love it.
definitely check it out. Yeah.
I love it. Richard, you're a brilliant musician. It's why you've been one of my favorite musicians since I was like in middle school, dude. So to be friends
Awesome.
with you, is certainly awesome. And thanks for being a good friend. And I appreciate you coming on as always. Maybe I'll see you out there in California next week, my man. But always
You got it.
always fun talking to you, Richard.
Hit me up, and yeah, absolutely. You're awesome. I love your show. Keep up
Thank,
the good work, and stay awesome and stay positive, and yeah, all the good
thanks,
stuff.
Richard. Regards to you and your family. By the way, for those of you that don't know, Richard's brother is Robert Patrick, the very famous actor from the bad guy Terminator movies and Sopranos.
Yeah.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Richard. Good to see you, my friend.
And he's in Peacemaker as
Oh,
well.
cool. He is
And
such
that
such a
just
great
came
actor.
out last night. So check out Peacemaker on HBO Max, and he's
I
in
gotta meet
that
you.
with
I gotta meet your brother one of these days, man. What a
yeah.
brilliant actor. He's so amazing. Thanks, Richard.
He's a hoot. He's a lot of fun.
I heard
He's
he's
a
got a
good
great
guy.
sense of humor.
Yeah.
Good to have you on, Richard. We'll see you soon. All right. Thanks, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Got it. You got it. That's Richard Patrick, everybody. There's a lot of nice people in the chat that are very familiar with his music. That was a fun interview. So that's one of the things for me that now we got into politics, right, for the first 15 minutes. And me and Richard talk about politics all the time off the air. But so for me growing up, there were several bands that I listened to, alternative rock bands. Of course, Nine Inch Nails, one of them. The band Filter is another one. The band Live. Everybody knows how much I like the band Live. Stone Temple Pilots, Pearl Jam. But Richard was always one of my favorite musicians. And Title of Record is one of my favorite albums of all time. And I became friends with Richard about 6 or 7 years ago. He did my radio show. Then we talked off the air, and we've been good friends ever since. And that's what I really cherish the most about doing what I do, besides being able to talk to all of you and share my opinions. And by the way, we're going to give you the platform right now where you can call in 702-221-7283. And we'll get back to this John Bolton stuff. What do you guys think about John Bolton's house being raided? We'll talk a little bit about that. But it's one of the things that I appreciate most about doing what I do is I get to meet people that I've always wanted to meet. And when they end up being unbelievably great people like Richard, it just makes it even better. You know, you're listening to someone's music and you've been listening to their music your whole life. And then it turns out they're great people. Right. And that's what makes it cool for me, not to name drop, not to say, ooh, I know this person, but somebody that you admire. And then they end up being really good friends of yours. And Richard has helped me through some very difficult times. And I appreciate our friendship. So I appreciate Richard coming on, man. That era of music and movies to me in my lifetime was the best. I'm 45 years old. The hip hop in the 90s was great. I feel like all the music was great in the 90s. Some of my favorite movies, a couple of them, Falling Down, Office Space, Shawshank Redemption. I mean, these are movies that came out in the 90s. And some of the best music of my lifetime. I wasn't alive in the 60s or 70s, but great music came out in the 80s. There's no doubt about it. But my favorite was alternative rock and grunge 90s, which I still listen to every single day. And Richard is a pioneer of what that is. So appreciate Richard coming on the show. So getting back to some serious topics. Not that we didn't talk about a lot of serious topics in that interview. We talked about how Chris Cornell saved Richard Patrick's life and Chester Bennington taking his life. But what transpired this morning should concern all of you that John Bolton's house was raided by the FBI for one reason. because he doesn't like what John Bolton, Trump doesn't like what John Bolton's been saying about him, whether it be in his book or on national networks. We've also learned today, and this is actually some good news. It's nice to be able to report to you guys some actual good news. You guys are going to like this. A federal judge in Miami has ordered the closure of Alligator Alcatraz in 60 days. This is a shocking ruling. It's an 82-page order. Now, obviously, it's the right order, right? The way people are being treated there, they're being treated like animals. But this is really good news. So this Alligator Alcatraz is done with. They've been bragging about it. They've been gloating about it. No new prisoners are going to be sent there now. And it is shutting down, and it is going to be closed within 60 days. So again, wasteful spending, wasting of our taxpayer dollars. And I am glad that this federal judge, who in my estimation is a hero for doing what he did, this judgment that came late yesterday. So Alligator Alcatraz is going to be done with. Okay, we're going to be opening up the phone lines right now. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. And again, if you'd like to be a part of the conversation, that number is 702-221-SAVE, 702-221-7283. Again, your thoughts on John Bolton's home being raided. Alligator Alcatraz is going to be done with within 60 days. A judge made that ruling in Miami. And any comments you want to make about Richard Patrick's interview I just did. That was quite the interview. We talked about everything from politics to musicians and suicide and alcoholism. It's really some incredible stories that he told. So, all right, 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Joseph. Joseph is first up on PTL. Hey, Joseph, what's going on?
Yeah, hey, Brian. All right, here's my piece. Hearing about John Bolton's house being raided goes to show that all that Trump is doing is he's trying to go after political enemies, and he's going to make everybody who feel the same thing if they say bad things about him. And speaking of Alligator Alcatraz, I say it's a good thing they're going to close it down, because those people there deserve to be free from there. As for the guards who in charge of the place, they should be reprimanded for what they did to those other people.
I don't disagree with you. And I think that specifically what is going on, what is going on right now in this country, and people not getting due process. And you look at the way that some of these prisoners have been treated, the inhumane conditions. It sickens me, Joseph. It sickens me. I'm glad a judge made this order about Alligator Alcatraz, but it can't end there, right? The way people are being treated in this country on a regular basis, it's sickening to me. And you're right. People should be held accountable. I agree with you.
I agree on that too, because also I'm worried about those other places like Alligator Alcatraz, because I'm hoping they better do the same thing to those other places, because who knows what's going to happen to them. They'll probably get the same treatment, just like what happened in Florida.
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree with you. You're right. It's not going to get better, Joe. It's only going to get worse, man. Hey, I appreciate your call, and I hope you have a great weekend, Joseph. Thank you for calling in, okay? 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Anthony. Anthony is next up on PTL. Hello, Anthony.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, Anthony? What's on your mind?
No, let me be honest with you. Yeah, I'm an anti-Trump. I'm an anti-MAGA from Los Angeles, California. All I got to know is, everybody here in your radio show should know about past history about this Alligator Alcatraz. It reminds me of back in the 40s during the World War II, when Chinese immigrants were all gathered up and thrown into concentration camps out in the desert, like Manzanar, for example. That's how it is. History is repeating itself once and for all with Latino immigrants, because the douchebag in the White House is doing that thing. Because why? Because he wants MAGA. Well, MAGA is actually being white again. He wants back the whole old style of living, of the American living. Just as some example, why doesn't he just say, "I don't want foreigners in the United States of America"?
It's not even that it's not even that he doesn't want foreigners here. I believe he doesn't want brown people here. That's what I think.
He doesn't want brown people. He doesn't even want people. Right. If
they're a white foreigner with money that maybe he can swindle and get business from, he definitely wants them here. $5 million gold cards. I mean, it's a joke. So I agree.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke. It's plain and simple. $5 million. Who in the hell nowadays are going to have $5 million cold card? His lover boy Putin may have it because he's part of the KGB. And I bet you anything. Speaking about that, I bet you anything. Don't quote me on this, but I have a feeling that Trump owes the Russian mafia. So that's why, personally, he owes money to the Russian mafia.
It could be very, very possible and plausible, my friend, and I wouldn't put that past him. There's something going on there where Vladimir Putin has something over Donald Trump. But you can also say to yourself, why is he so kind to Kim Jong-un? Why is he so kind to Viktor Orban? Why? I think a portion of it also is he looks up to evil, murderous dictators. I've always felt that way as well, my friend. I appreciate your call. Thank you so much. Back to the phone lines we go. Let's go to Jake. Jake is next up on PTL. Hey, Jake, what's going on?
Hey, Brian, how's it going?
Good.
A couple things I want to float past you. I was sort of thinking about if we turn back the clocks a little bit, all the way back to, remember when Barack Obama had Donald Trump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner and he trashed him and he humiliated him?
I remember.
Yeah, of course. If we look at, in both Trump terms, how much of his policy and his actions have been based on retribution and bullying and being petty because he's so insecure. Sometimes I wonder if Barack Obama had never done that, had never embarrassed Donald Trump in front of everybody, if we would really be in this situation today, if Donald Trump had ever even ran for president just from that one moment.
It's a good question that you asked. I don't know the answer to it. Maybe not. I'm not going to fault Barack Obama for making a couple jokes, and I know you're not either. But I do think that moment was a turning point where he had so much hate and jealousy towards Barack Obama. And he said to himself, you know what? I don't think I'm going to win, but I'm going to run for president of the United States to show them that I have a chance and it's good for my brand. I don't think he ever thought he was going to win. And you look at the shock that he had after he had defeated Hillary Clinton, and I think the country was pretty shocked, and he was in shock. You see him the next day, and he just looked like he was in complete and utter shock. And then he said, how can I do this to take advantage of it and take advantage of it myself? And boy, he's certainly done that. That's for sure. But I think it's fair to say that if that moment didn't happen at that dinner, maybe he never becomes the president of the United States. It's very, very possible.
Yeah. Can I get one more point in before I let you go?
Sure.
I see you, on things like the Piers Morgan show, and I quite frankly, I'd like to see you debating more of these mega people, maybe some bigger names like a Charlie Kirk or somebody like that. And
Kirk won't do it. Kirk won't do it. But I did debate some pretty big names. I mean, I debated Clay Travis. I debated Roger Stone. I've debated Jack Posobiec. I've debated Larry Elder. Yep. So, I have debated some pretty big names. I would love to sit down with Ben Shapiro. Charlie Kirk is another one. And who's the anti-transgender Walsh, another one. These are people that very rarely will actually have debates with people around their own age. Usually they get paid thousands of dollars to make speeches and debate a bunch of 18-year-old liberals. They don't have the wherewithal. Ben Shapiro conducts himself like he's the smartest guy in the room. I'm not saying he's stupid, but he's not as smart as people think. Neither is Walsh. These guys have found a niche for hateful rhetoric, and they understand that there is a part of America that eats it up, and that's how they make their money, man. It's like if David Duke decided to do a podcast and he was making a lot of money and had a large following, would you praise David Duke? No. And I'm comparing some of these people to David Duke because I think they're that bad of people. I really do. I'm not even being facetious.
Yeah. Like Kirk, he's afraid to debate Parker. He's afraid to debate Dean Withers, and he only wants to debate a bunch of 18, 19-year-old college kids that are impressionable and don't know how to stand up to his bad faith arguing,
No, you're right. I completely agree with you, my friend. Hey, Jake, it's good to hear from you. And I do appreciate the phone call. Thank you so much. I agree. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Mark. Mark is next up on PTL. Hey, Mark, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. Happy Friday to you and everybody else listening.
Happy Friday.
I want to talk about media, if you don't mind, for a second, on how ignorant they are. I was surfing a few channels today, and I came across MSNBC. And just as I turned on the channel, Katie Tur stated, up next is Andrea Mitchell, and she's going to explain on how we got here as a country. To tell you the truth, does anyone really need an 80-year-old woman who can't make 3 words without stuttering and hesitating and shaking to tell us how we got here as a country?
That's a good point.
It all started with Mitch McConnell when, in an interview, he denied Barack Obama a seat and then pushed through their own candidate months before an election. And he was asked, would you do this again? He said, of course. And then he stated that it was asked of him, why did you do this? He said, because I can. Now, we all know how we got here. We got here because of the media. We got here because of the uneducated MAGA. And we got here because Donald Trump was normalized by everybody. Yeah. Look at what he's doing now. And we're reporting on Bolton, who I really couldn't give a crap about. And I care about these immigrants who are being jailed, fathers who are being thrown out of cars and put on the ground. I care about children, 6-year-old children being scooped up. I care about children that have cancer being scooped up.
Of course. U.S.
citizens being deported. That's who I care about. I don't give a damn about John Bolton. And one more thing, Brian. One more thing before I go.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you had a lot of respect for John Kelly. He's a piece of garbage. And I'm going to tell you why. John Kelly is a MAGA. Don't ever forget this. John Kelly stood with Donald Trump up until Donald Trump insulted him and his kid for being in the military because they were suckers and losers. That's the only reason why John Kelly left. The same with Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen left only because Trump didn't take him into the White House. And he was fuming about that.
I understand, Mark, what you're saying. I respect your opinion. I'm just saying I certainly have respect for Kelly, his service to this country. I understand your criticism. Nobody is perfect, but I understand where you're coming from. Going to the YouTube super chat, Taco, I can't say that word, McCankles will take the closing of Alligator Alcatraz to his crooked Supreme Court, and they'll side with him as always. You're right about that, Duke. I didn't actually consider that. The Supreme Court may actually do that with these conservative nut jobs that have stacked the court. We also are following some breaking news that the Maxwell transcript has been released by the DOJ, and some of the new details in that are saying that she does not believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. She also says that she does not recall or believe that Bill Clinton ever got a massage from an underage girl, among others. So we'll continue to monitor this situation. Of course, she's saying that, she didn't believe that Donald Trump had any wrongdoing as well. But we knew that was going to happen, and that's why she was sent to Club Med. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Alex. Alex is next up on PTL. Hey, Alex, what's going on?
Hey, what's up? Is it me?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
What's up, my hero, Brian Shapiro?
Well, thank you. That's very nice of you to say. I wouldn't call myself that, but thank you.
Dude, I've been listening to you for possibly 3 years.
Oh, thank you.
Since the beginning. So, a couple points. I want everybody to raid Kristi Noem's. No, not Kristi Noem's. Who's the girl who's very anti-trans?
Oh, Nancy Mace. Nancy Mace.
Nancy Mace. I want every bearded transgender woman to raid the bathroom. And seriously, how could they
Okay, but hold on. I want them to do that to Kristi Noem also, though. Just to be fair.
I know, because she she probably has beard everywhere.
I'm not going to go there, my friend. But
dude, she actually, do you remember? Have you ever looked at her? She was actually normal before she got all that her transgender.
Listen, I believe shit. I've said this before that I believe
normal.
I believe that Nancy Mace. I believe, and I've heard rumors about this. I can't confirm this, but I've heard rumors.
She used to be a woman.
Well, no, even worse. That's nothing that there's anything bad about. Yes, she used to be a woman, but I've heard that her husband left her for a transgender woman. I've heard that.
Oh no! Yes.
I've heard that rumor. I don't know if it's true or not.
No,
but
no.
I don't know.
Make it viral.
She is a guy. I almost said she is a guy. She is a woman who actually goes up there. She makes speeches, and she brags about bills that have worked out for her constituents that she actually voted against. That's what a despicable Nancy Mace, the disgrace.
So incredibly hypocritical.
She is a horrific human being.
Also, hey, on the whole trans thing, Tulsi Gabbard kind of looks like a man, but she's kind of hot. Like
I'll leave that one alone. It is the weekend. I'll leave that one alone. There's
kind of hot.
Yeah.
She's kind of hot, but she kind of looks like a dude.
It sounds like you're talking about it sounds like you're talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, my friend. Hey, I appreciate your call. Thank you so much, my friend, and thank you for being a loyal listener. I appreciate you. Who are we going to do next here? Let's go to Frank. Frank is next on PTL. Hi, Frank.
How you doing, Brian?
Hey.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
And I'm hoping you're doing very well.
Hanging in there, my friend. Hanging in. I'm doing okay.
Did you hear the whole interview with Trump this morning about Bolton? Did you hear that?
About what? Say again?
Did you hear the whole interview of Donald Trump talking about Bolton?
Oh yeah, I played some of those clips earlier. Oh yeah, so it's so interesting to me, right? Because on one side of things, he says, I could have known about it. I could be the one starting it. And then in another statement, he says, I had nothing to do with it. So, I mean, he's such an idiot. Yeah.
Did you hear him say that a company in Ukraine got bombed by the Russians last night?
I saw that as well. I saw that.
Why didn't he mention that in his speech about Bolton to really care about what's going on?
I'll tell you why.
In Ukraine.
I'll tell you why, my friend, and I appreciate the call because Bolton is the guy who's been honest and wrote a book about Donald Trump and how Donald Trump is a narcissist and a dictator, and anybody who speaks out against Donald Trump that has a platform, Donald Trump will do anything and anything to bully you. In this case, his home was raided by the FBI. Go figure, right, Frank? But that's why. 702-221-7283, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to CJ. CJ's next on PTL. Hey, CJ, what's going on?
Hey, okay, let me mute this real quick. The few callers ago was talking about a certain dinner that was held at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Mm-hmm.
That same weekend, the President of the United States, Barack Obama, masterminded, oversaw the operation to assassinate Osama bin Laden, bring him to final justice.
Correct. Which they executed, thank God.
Yes.
Yep.
So it's like the day before that, he was overseeing that operation. Then he goes to a dinner and tells some jokes. And then the next day he announces to the world that Barack Obama was dead. So in that one weekend, he oversees taking out the man that had masterminded the fall of the World Trade Center and put a notch in the Pentagon and killed thousands of our citizens in a terrorist attack.
Yep.
And then and also then he went to a dinner and told some jokes.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that of those two things, that the taking down of our great enemy and jokes at a dinner, that it'd be the jokes at a dinner and not the taking down of our enemy that would have the lasting, devastating consequences on the future of our nation from that point?
Well, I mean, listen, it's a good point that you make. And Barack Obama never received as much credit as he should have received for being the mastermind and obviously the brave soldiers for catching Osama bin Laden and making sure that he can't hurt anybody else. Now, obviously, Al-Qaeda is not the same as it was, thank God, in the days after and before 9/11. But I can tell you that that was a big day for this country and the world. It was a big day for all those people out there that know someone or that lost a loved one on 9/11, that the mastermind behind that whole project, yes, I believe that was Osama bin Laden, was taken out. And while I was happy that Saddam Hussein was taken out, Osama bin Laden was more of a threat to us and to the world than Saddam Hussein ever was. And not to get back into the whole weapons of mass destruction, I can't really, I wanted to read a quick statement. So I want to go back to this breaking news of Maxwell's transcript by the DOJ becoming public. Maxwell says there is no list, but she says Epstein's black books do exist. 2 were seized in 2005, and 1 was published back in 2015. Another by Business Insider in 2021. And they contain names, numbers, and addresses of his contacts. So let me be very clear on this. Anything that Maxwell says, I don't believe. Why? Because Maxwell is one of the biggest sex traffickers in the history of this country. I don't believe a word she says. I don't believe a word she says about anything. So we should take this with a grain of salt, because Maxwell's a liar and a child trafficker. And, you know, how many young children and teenagers were raped because of Maxwell? So I'm not going to believe a word that she says. This is why the Trump administration did this interview, not because they care about the victims or the truth, because they wanted to protect Donald Trump. End of story. All right, number to call, 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Again, that number, 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to Kevin. Kevin is next up on PTL. Hi, Kevin.
Brian, how are you, my friend?
Hey, what's up, Kevin?
Not much. It's been a while since I called. Great show as always. I'm pretty thankful that you and oh my God, not Robert. Robert's his brother, right?
Richard. Yep, Richard.
Richard. Thank you. I'm lousy with names. Sorry. I'm pretty glad that you and Richard covered what you covered, because a lot of people don't understand the whole thing with suicide and the thoughts and things that goes into that. So thanks for that.
You bet.
Thanks to him.
Sure.
So let me say quickly, last time I called you, I gave you credit for your patience with a lot of these MAGA folks. And I told you about one MAGA guy on my job. Like, I just tell him straight out that he's lying.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like he had a come to Jesus moment recently, because with the whole thing we're going to prosecute Obama and all of this, and Clinton and all of them. I said, are you ready to prosecute Obama? He said, for what? I said, aren't you guys going to prosecute him for the Epstein thing? He said, Obama is innocent of everything. You guys were right about everything. I was so taken aback. I give Mr. MAGA a break. I don't even talk about politics with him. I don't talk about politics with him right now, just to make sure he's not, just to make sure he's okay. Let's put it like that.
Right.
Not taking it too hard. That's shocking. But anyway, I'll close up with 2 quick things, right? One is a question for you. Another is a statement. Now, the statement is, I want folks to look at the old 1990s you were talking about. Go back and look at it in living color. There's a character that Jim Carrey used to play, Fire Marshal Bill. To me, Charlie Kirk looks like the son of Fire Marshal Bill. I want people to go take a look at that and see if I'm lying.
That's actually pretty funny, my friend. Yeah.
Thank you, my friend. Every time I see him, that's all I think of. Here's a question for you, though. I know this would have caused an international crisis. Would I be wrong, in your opinion, would I be wrong in thinking, if I were the president, we're going back to the Alaska thing, you're showing nude pictures of my wife on TV in your country, and then you're coming to my home turf, USA, over in Alaska, to meet me. Am I wrong for thinking I was going to punch him? And by the time KGB and Secret Service get us separated, and maybe the troops get some licks into, by the time they get us separated, I'd have punched him like 4 or 5 times, and then we throw him in the same cell next to El Chapo.
Yeah.
Am I wrong for thinking that?
No, I don't think. I don't think you are wrong thinking that. By the way, for the record, I know a guy who was in El Chapo's cell. He's currently in jail right now. His name is Michael Avenatti. He's done my show before he went to jail. He'd done my show like 20 times. He was actually in El Chapo's cell, and he told me about it. Not a pretty sight in there in New York. I'll tell you that much. Thank you for the call, my friend, and I really do appreciate your kind words. 702-221-7283. Let's go to X. X is next on PTL. What's going on, X?
Hello, X. Hello, Brian, my bad. What I wanted to ask you was, as a neutral perspective, from 1 to 10, how good or how bad will you rate Donald Trump's presidency? And if there's anything good, is there anything good that you've seen that he did?
I give it a 0. On a 1 to 10, I give it a 0. 0.
So 1 to 10, you give it a 0. Well,
what would you say that he's done well?
I mean, I'm not going to give him like average. I'm going to give him below average, but not horrible.
Okay, but what do you think he's done well? Let's talk about this.
Okay, like what I think he did well.
Yeah, because when you say below average, that's like what? You're giving him like a D+, So like what would you say that he's done well in this first 7 months? What has he done well?
I mean, what I do like is he's kept the border safe.
So hold on a second. Let's talk about that. Okay, so you like his border security and immigration policy. Is that a fair statement?
I like how the border secured. I think
okay, part of his immigration. I understand, but part of his immigration policy is he's sending people to El Salvador prisons. He's not giving people due process. And if you just get rid of 4% of the population and we have close to full unemployment, do you understand what that does to the economy?
I mean, there is definitely truth in it. What I don't like is for example, how he's going after the people from Home Depot and there's other things.
Well, that's part of his immigration policy. So you don't necessarily like his immigration policy, but you like the fact that millions of people are being deported, many of whom that are not violent criminals. You think that's good for the country?
What I'm saying is we should deport to a certain extent, number. That's what I'm saying. To a certain extent.
We should deport who? Say that one more time, sir.
There needs to be a certain amount of, or there needs to be a decent amount of deportation still. A decent amount.
So people that have lived in this country for decades that haven't committed a violent crime in their life, you're okay with them being deported?
In that case, if they've been here for decades, not 2 to 3 years, pay a fine, what I would say, pay a fine, let's check his history. Let's see, is there anything that he did?
I hear you. So my friend, I hear you, my friend. That's not what he's doing though. Part of your definition with respect of making the border safe, in your opinion, which by the way, I would respectfully disagree with, is deporting those people. The overwhelming majority of the people that Donald Trump is deporting and his ICE agents are deporting are non-violent criminals. Many of them that have been in this country for years, that the type of people that you're explaining. Listen, I think everybody is on board with violent criminals that are undocumented being deported. I'm certainly okay with that. I haven't spoken to one person on the left that's not okay with that. But they're arresting citizens, they're arresting non-violent criminals, they're separating families. So I don't consider that making the border safer. I consider that with people in this country that are not getting due process and going against our Constitution and what this country stands for. That's what I think it is. So I would disagree with you on that.
Listen, I've heard about that, but what I'm saying is who is a citizen that he deported? Is there any?
I didn't say there were citizens getting deported. I said there were citizens getting arrested, claiming that they were undocumented. They have to go through the process of being handcuffed in front of their families and friends and being sent to a jail until it's proven that they're documented. I'm not okay with that either. There's something in this country called due process, and these people are not getting that. And when you say that the border is safer, which by the way, I would when you say this country's safer, I would question that. Also, you have a better chance of being the victim of a crime per capita by a U.S. citizen than you do an undocumented immigrant. So I would respectfully disagree with you on that, but it seems like we have some common ground and you would agree you don't like the way he's doing it. So give me one policy or something that he's done in the first 7 months where you're all in and you say, man, I can back Donald Trump 100% on this, because clearly it's not his immigration policy. So what has he done that you would say, man, I could name maybe one or two things that I think he's done that are okay. But name me something that you think he's done that you 100% are behind.
If it's immigration policies, if it's not good, what I'm saying is, I think it was better in the last administration.
I disagree with you. So you think it's better to not give people due process than the last administration?
I mean, the last administration, let's see.
Hold on a second. Think about this. In this administration, you have a bunch of people that are not identifying themselves, putting masks over their faces, kidnapping people. That's what they're doing in front of Home Depot, in front of courtrooms. You think that's quote unquote better than what Joe Biden was doing in his administration?
I don't know how true this is. Or I don't know how true this is not. But what, not what you're saying.
What's not
there's
true?
People that are
there's videos of it. Just go on YouTube. There's videos of it. There's. How have you not seen that? There's multiple videos.
Can I just explain, please? I'm not going off topic. What I'm saying is, I heard that those ICE agents are getting death threats, that they're going after the families.
That's a different. Okay, so first of all, that's a different topic. I could also tell you that there are police officers and people in law enforcement that get death threats. I'm not saying that makes it right, but guess what? ICE agents need to identify themselves. They shouldn't be wearing masks on their faces. That's why there's so much speculation that some of these people are not actual ICE agents. I don't defend death threats, but that doesn't make what they're doing right, sir. It doesn't make it right to not give people due process and handling it the way the Trump administration is handling it. And I disagree with you. I don't think that makes it better than the last administration. Joe Biden's administration, they were giving people due process and they weren't treating people like animals. How did the alligator Alcatraz work out? They're closing it down in 2 months. A lot of money, a lot of taxpayer money. We want to talk about saving money. So when you say when you say you think the border is safer, which I wouldn't necessarily agree.
I don't think he's doing a great job. I think he's doing an okay job, an okay to kind of good. But the rest.
And what else has he
done?
Tell me. So we'll agree to disagree. Okay, we'll agree to disagree on the border. What else is he doing okay on in your estimation? Tell me. I'm open ears.
What I'm saying, what else? I think he's doing okay on. I am not anti
X
or anything like that. I have friends too,
X. Try to X. Hold on, back up. Let's try to slow down here. Listen to what I am asking you. You said he's doing an okay job. Hold on. You said he's doing an okay job. You have the right to your opinion. I'm glad you called in. We disagree on immigration policy. Okay, let's move on to something else. If you think, hold on. If you think he's doing an okay job, name me something else he's doing in the first 7 months that you think is okay.
Sure. What else? That I agreed with. Was that right now? Men are playing in men's sports and women are playing in women's
Donald
sports.
Trump didn't do. Okay, so listen. There was an executive order. Do you know how many? Joe Biden gave the right to the schools to make their own decisions. But do you know how many Division I college athletes there are that are trans in this country? Do you have any idea?
It's really rare. I'm going to assume that the trans community.
So that's an important issue. So that's an important issue to do. Donald Trump is doing an okay job because thank God they got that trans woman off that volleyball team. That's the second thing you listed. Number one was immigration. Hold on, I gave you the opportunity. Number one was the border, and then we both agreed that there's things he's doing with deporting people that you disagree with. So certainly you don't like everything he's doing with the border. And then I ask you to name something else because you think he's doing an okay job, and you want to talk about trans people. How the hell does that affect you?
Below average. I think he's doing below average.
But you said he's doing okay. You haven't. Give me something. Give me something else. Don't talk to me about trans kids. That's not even a top 20 issue. What is he doing? That's okay. Tell me.
It kind of like I said again, there's parents and there's who don't want to be seeing their athlete be competing in that and having it being.
That is not okay. So first of all, that is not a top 20 issue. There are literally single digits of the amount of trans people that are in college sports. There are also very, very small percentage of them that are playing middle school and high school sports. Okay. That is not a top 20 issue in this country. And you say he's doing an okay job. Tell me something else. You talked about immigration. We agree to disagree on some things. The trans issue is almost a non-issue in this country, based on every poll out there. Give me something else that you think he's doing that's quote unquote okay.
There was drag storytelling, two kids, whose parents disagreed with, and
drag. What's the policy there? What's that policy?
And it was going on in Joe Biden's administration,
Okay, well, he didn't ban. Okay, so first of all, he didn't ban drag queen reading, but I'm happy to talk to you about that. Can you name me a situation where any child was killed or harmed by drag queen reading?
it could, like, there could be somebody.
No. I didn't ask. No. I didn't ask you there could be. I'm asking you a very specific question. For example, if you talk to me about guns, I can tell you it's the second leading cause of death in children under the age of 16. Can you name me one child that was killed by going to drag queen reading, even physically harmed? Can you name me one?
Okay, but can I explain?
I'd like you to answer my question, please, and then you can.
And I will answer the question.
So please do.
To the best of my ability that I possibly can.
Please do.
But again, okay, thank you. Like, what I wanted to say was, like, for example, like, if, like, the parent, like, the child could, like, tell their parents that, like, could not tell their parents that, what, I'm gay, like, or,
I'm
what,
not, but X, the question isn't what they're telling their parents. Okay. And by the way, the idea that drag queen reading, they tell their kids to be transgender is a lie. Maybe out of 1,000 drag queen readings, one person might have said something, or two people might have said something inappropriate. The point I'm trying to make to you is you don't want to talk about gun control. You don't want to talk about healthcare, about how 15, hold on a second. You don't want to talk about the fact that Donald Trump, because of the big, hold on, let me finish. Donald Trump, the big and beautiful bill where 15 million people are going to lose their health care coverage. People are going to lose their food stamps. The biggest tax breaks for the top 1%. The fact that the National Guard is being called in. We're headed towards martial law, and he's breaking parts of our own Constitution. You don't want to talk about any of that stuff. But the second most important thing to you, the second thing that's most important to you is drag queen reading. Sir, that's ridiculous.
That's in a second.
Name me. Okay, you didn't answer my question. Name me one child that was killed from drag queen reading. You told me you would answer it. Now answer it. I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
There hasn't been any reported.
Thank you. So you put exactly. Thank you. Okay. Has there been any child, to your knowledge, that you know of that's ever been physically harmed at drag queen reading? I'll accept your pause as a no. Do you have any evidence that drag queen reading has converted a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old to be transgender, and then a week later they got transgender surgery? Do you have any evidence to prove that?
I've heard people do it.
I've heard people do it. I didn't ask you what you've heard. I've heard people say the earth is flat. That means nothing. So you've heard something, so you think it's a problem. So if I heard that you were a pedophile, does that mean that you're a pedophile? I didn't ask you what you heard, sir. I'm asking for evidence. I didn't hear. Hold on a second. I didn't hear that the second leading cause in death in children under the age of 16 was gun control. I didn't just hear that. That's according to the FBI. What is your source that children got? What is your source that children got transgender surgery because of going to a drag reading? Because you're lying. Who told you that? Because they're wrong. It's nothing but hearsay.
People died. I never said people died.
I didn't say that either. You said children have changed their gender because of going to a drag queen reading, which is ridiculous. You have no evidence to prove that.
I didn't mean it like that. I said, for example, let's say if my kid wanted to change his gender, the school could not inform me about it.
Okay, that's a hypothetical. I don't know why that would harm you or your kids. And you're giving me another hypothetical. You talk to me about drag queen reading. You talked to me about drag queen reading. That was the third thing that you mentioned. You couldn't name me one child and evidence of one child that has ever been harmed from drag queen reading, yet you bring that up. Do you realize how ridiculous that is?
Can I continue? Please.
Please. What? You're the one who brought it up, not me. We had a civil conversation about immigration.
Because there's like I said again, the big beautiful bill.
You think it's big and beautiful? You think it's terrible? Okay. So don't you think that's a little bit more important than drag queen reading? Don't you think that's a little bit more important than transgenders in sports and drag queen reading? The fact that 15 million Americans are going to be losing their Medicaid coverage, the fact that people are going to lose their food stamps, and you say he's doing okay? Have a nice day, sir. I appreciate the call. I appreciate the call, sir. This is the problem with people that are brainwashed. They think that drag queen reading is an issue. They think that transgenders in sports is a more important issue than healthcare, than people losing their food stamps. Give me a break. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Shaniqua. Shaniqua is next up on PTL. Hello, Shaniqua.
Hello, hi, how are you?
Hey, good. What's on your mind today?
It's such a pleasure being on the phone with you.
Oh, well, thank you.
So, I'm from New York, and I agree with everything you're saying. Like, everybody is, like, moving so backwards. First of all, when Biden and even when Obama was president, they actually had better control over immigration and actually deported more people than Trump did under this regime, but in the legal way. So I don't understand how people are still saying how they like the way Trump is doing it when he didn't even do as much as Biden and Obama.
Well, of
But
course
it's
you're
just
right.
like,
Of course you're right about that. When I look at just the stuff that Joe Biden did, the bipartisan, and by the way, I'm very angry at Joe Biden for not stepping aside much earlier. It hurt the country. But as far as what bills, the most gun legislation that was passed bipartisan in decades, the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which Donald Trump promised he was going to pass and never was able to pass, our brave men and women in uniform getting the health care that they deserve, the CHIPS and Science Act. I mean, I can go on and on. And student debt forgiveness. There's a lot of things that Joe Biden did that I thought were very good.
yeah, and I really wish that he would have stepped aside a long time ago too. I'm not to bash Biden or anything like that. You know, I wish him well, but it would have gave Kamala more time to really, push her, her ideas and stuff like that, because I really believe she was a way better pick, regardless.
Of course.
And like we already dealt with the Trump administration during the pandemic, and that's the reason why he did not get elected. People act like they got brainwashed during these years. The reason why he didn't get reelected was because how he handled the pandemic.
Yeah, it was
He
F minus.
he had
Yeah.
yeah, like he did terrible during his first administration, and like I just don't get it. How can you allow somebody to tell you what you saw and what your family went through and what your friends went through? This stuff was real. It wasn't a figment of anybody's imagination. It actually happened.
Yeah.
So like when I see that people saying Trump 2024, it boggled my mind. Like I'm like, how is this even a thing?
I'm with you, Shaniqua, and I'm so glad that you called in. And you're right. It's a thing because there's a lot of ignorant morons out there in this country. Most of them, I'm not going to say all of them, but most of them who support Donald Trump. They're ill-informed, they're uneducated, and they're morons. I don't know what else to say. Let's see here. Who are we going to do next? We got a couple Las Vegas callers. I got to show some love for Las Vegas. Let's start off with Jeff. Jeff is calling from Vegas. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
You know, they were saying here that the economy could be headed for a recession.
Correct.
And the main reason why that could be is because, we're a service economy, and a lot of tourists are, they're saying, they're Xing off the United States as a tourist destination, because like a lot of Europeans, they don't want to go to New York or go to, Disney World or wherever, or Miami, because if they overstay their visa, they could end up in Alligator Alcatraz.
Right.
And a lot of South Americans aren't visiting the United States anymore because they see all the ICE raids and they don't want to get caught up in that. And then a lot of Asians, they don't like what's happening with the terrorists and probably can't even afford to come, visit the United States anyway. So, Trump, when they say Trump economy, this is what they're talking about.
Oh, no, I agree with you. And Jeff, as you know, you live in Las Vegas and you know this. We are headed towards a recession, not just in Las Vegas, but throughout the country. We have one of the highest unemployment rates in the country, one of the worst. Tourism is so down. It's amazing. Let's go back to Las Vegas. Thank you for the call, sir. Love my locals. Let's go to Mark. Mark is next up. Hey, Mark, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. Hey, I just wanted to comment on immigration. Maybe I'm a bit confused. Let's see. But if somebody commits a serious crime here, shouldn't they actually be prosecuted here and suffer whatever consequences under our legal system here? If you just take these people and you deport them, you're not even guaranteed that they're going to be in a prison someplace where they couldn't just come back across the border again, right?
That's true. Yeah, no, you're right. I agree.
Yeah, so they should be prosecuted here, go through our system, under the Constitution, all you conservatives, and instead of just sending them away where they could come back, hold them accountable properly. And if they haven't committed a crime, then they're taking up space in either our prison system or these stupid deportation camps that are people who have committed crimes.
No, Mark, listen, great phone call, and I'm with you on that 150%. It doesn't make any sense to deport some of these people when they can just cross the border again. So I completely agree with you. Thank you for the call, Mark. Love to get those local calls from Vegas. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. Let's see who we going to next here. Let's go to Isaacar. Isaacar is next on PTL. Hello, Isaacar.
Hello, Brian. How you doing?
Good. What's on your mind today?
Yeah, I just had to call because apparently it's regarding to that guy that you were talking to a few phone calls ago. His name's X or whatever.
Yep.
And the problem with him is that I'm not sure, like, you know, what he's thinking about when it comes to the second thing that he brought up was
drag queens.
Oh, Trump is doing great as far as like the drag queens, and men is playing in men's sports or women playing in women's sports. And all I can think about is this: is he still living in 2021?
No, I'll tell you what it is.
Still living in 2022.
Tell me
what's going on.
Tell me if you disagree with me. Here's what I think about X. I think he has some sort of, and there's nothing wrong with this. He has some sort of physical attraction to drag queens. That's what I think. I think he has an attraction. He's afraid to admit it. So he's a drag queen hater. That's what I think. I'm just going with my read on that one, as if I was playing poker. If you are have that much a problem with drag queens, when he couldn't even name me one child that's ever been harmed from it, then I think he has an attraction and he's embarrassed to admit it. That's what I think.
I mean, listen, it wouldn't surprise me to do that. But the thing is this time that we're living in right now, where people are being kidnapped, they're not being, it's not like they're only being detained. No, they're being kidnapped. Prices are going high. Eggs are going up. The price of meat is going up. I went to Walmart and I saw that a cubed piece of beef or whatever went up, like it was around $14, $15.
Oh, I know, it's insane.
And I remember last year it was around $3.
Well, I disagree with you on one thing. I disagree with you on one thing, sir. For the record, yeah, the price of meat is going up, but last I checked, Melania Trump's price is going down. 702, sorry, I had to say that. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Kristen. Thank you for the call, sir. Kristen, what's going on?
Yeah, hi, Brian, in chat. Just trying to, isn't it weird they're running on, I guess, immigration, trans people, what else? Well, of course, guns, and I don't get their deal. How many people just like those ideas instead of voting for Democrat?
Yeah, well, the people that like those ideas are evangelical Christians that talk about Jesus and God and vote for an adjudicated rapist. That's the best way I can answer that question, my dear, to be honest with you. All right, we're trying to get to as many calls as we can before my guest. Let's go to Julie. Julie is next up on PTL. Hi, Julie.
Hey, Brian.
Hey.
I'm trying not to laugh when you said that they were rating somebody that Trump didn't like, but yet he wanted to cry and complain about people rating his Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
I'm trying not to laugh.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm really
but here's
trying
the thing.
not to laugh.
But here's the thing. Mar-a-Lago, he defied a subpoena for a year. John Bolton didn't do any of that stuff. I mean, they're claiming that he had some classified information that he put in his book, and it's absurd. It's absolutely ridiculous. Thank you for the call, my dear. Got to move on to some other callers. Let's go to Ken. Hey, Ken, what's going on?
Hello, sir. Two things. These people forget it. If Bo hadn't served his country and died for his country, we never would have had Trump. None of this would be going on.
Yeah.
Okay? And those servicemen that bowed down to Putin and all that, but Kaepernick, I mean, I just can't get over that. It keeps coming out more and more.
I say that all the time, sir, and I'm sorry we're up against the clock. I'm sorry to cut you off, but Donald Trump called African Americans and those who were peacefully protesting sons of bitches when they were peacefully protesting, the Colin Kaepernicks. But yet, if you beat a police officer on January 6th, you're a patriot. You're a hostage. One more call, then we got to get to our very special guest. Let's go to Kevin. Kevin, I got about 30 seconds for you, my friend. Go ahead.
I want to say, how can we survive 3.5 more years of this?
Well, Kevin, that's a loaded question, and it would be too long for me to answer, but I will say this. If we don't fight, if Democrats don't have a solid midterms, which will help, that's really the only pathway forward. In 2026, we got to get these MAGA Republicans out of office. Then, if the Democrats control the House and the Senate, then it's going to be making it much more difficult for Donald Trump to implement policy. That's really the best answer I can give you. Otherwise, we're in it for the next 3.5 years, my friend, and I appreciate the call. The lovely lady that's joining us right now on the program, we've missed her the last couple of weeks because she's been traveling everywhere. The lovely, beautiful Nicole Mitchell, former pastor, now, of course, life coach, my personal life coach. And I appreciate Nicole joining us. Nicole, looking awesome as usual. How are you?
I'm so good. Happy Friday. How are you doing, Brian?
I am doing okay. I am hanging in there, Nicole. Everyone's glad to see you. It's been a little while.
I know I've missed you and I've missed everyone. So I'm so excited to be here today.
You've been all over the place. You've been traveling everywhere, huh?
Everywhere. Ireland, Ibiza, Cabo. Just got back from Austin. I'm coming to Vegas in a few weeks and I'll get to see you. So it's all good stuff.
Twice. I'm going to see Nicole twice in the next couple of weeks.
Yes, next week.
She's going to get sick of me, let me tell you. But that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm taking a little mini vacation. So, Nicole, I love this part of the show where my listeners get to learn a little bit more about me. So I'm going to give you the opportunity, as we love to do, to ask me some questions and do a little role reversal here.
Yes. And I'm going to tell your viewers, we also love your questions for Brian. So if you want to do the tip, I can't remember, I think it's a super chat where you tip and your question will pop up on the screen. We will ask your question because, when else do you get to interrogate Brian Shapiro? Like,
somebody said, hey, Brian, have you ever been told you have a Sheamus look going on? I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means, Nicole?
I don't. Can Numchuck look up Sheamus?
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but thank you for the donation, Terrence. I'm sorry, I don't know what a Sheamus is.
I don't know either. We just learned something new.
I don't know. Does anybody know what that means?
What is a Sheamus?
I don't. An Irish person? I don't know. Oh, is there a WWE wrestler named Sheamus? Oh, okay. Is he a WWE wrestler? Okay. Well, Sheamus has bigger muscles than me. But there's only one muscle. There's only one muscle that I care about. Anyway, I'm sorry. That was a terrible joke. Go ahead, Nicole. What do you got for me?
Oh my God, I love you. Okay. Please keep sending your super chats. Let's ask Brian all the questions. Let me think for a moment. I'm like, what can I ask that
Nicole knows a lot about me. She knows about my dating life. She knows about my personal stuff. She knows about everything. She knows my very good friends. Yeah. She knows more about me than I guarantee you any listener does. But
this is why I'm so eager for them to super chat and ask questions. I know what Brian's apartment looks like.
Yes, you do. Unfortunately.
Ooh, question for your audience. Do you think Brian is neat and organized or scattered and disorganized?
But I've already said that on the air that I am.
Oh,
I am
dang it. I'm like, let me see. Put in the chat. Is he messy or is he organized? I want to see.
I've already said that. I've already said that on the air.
Okay, well, let's see. Let's see if these little viewers know.
Yeah. Everybody seems to be more focused on your appearance, which I can understand, Nicole.
I don't know why. I'm just wearing a normal.
Lucky Minute is correct. I am extremely disorganized. Dave says, Brian, would you sleep with Monica Lewinsky? Maybe 25 years ago. Go ahead, Nicole. What else do you have for me?
If you guys haven't watched Monica Lewinsky, she has it was a documentary or some big interview that came out a few years ago. And it was a TED Talk. If you have not listened to Monica Lewinsky's TED Talk, I highly, highly recommend it. It was so insightful to hear from this woman who was demonized so many years ago, who had no room to speak, whose story was told for her, and she finally gets to tell the story in her words, on her terms. Highly recommend checking out that TED Talk on YouTube.
Can you imagine, Nicole? And we got to say this PG-13. Can you imagine what your life would be like when you were only famous for or known for giving a former president of the United States oral pleasure?
I know. And she was so young. And something she said in one interview, she's like, we all fall in love. I just happened to fall in love with the most powerful man in the world. And I paid severely for it. It's like, And I remember some other interview where she, her parents took all the doors off her room and off the shower because they were so afraid of her unaliving herself because the hate that came towards her. Like, I can't even imagine what she went through, and the fact that she's still alive and now she has a platform of her own. I'm genuinely so happy for her.
Yes. Oh, by the way, Nicole, Roxy says, this is actually an interesting question, but it's more for you. Do you believe Brian will find his love and get hitched? I hope
I
so.
love this, Roxy. 100%. And especially because I'm now helping him, Roxy.
Yeah.
So this is like something I'm so passionate about. I actually help people fall in love all the time, first with themselves and their life, and then with the person they want to be with. So I actually believe Brian will. I'll have you guys know, I tried to get Brian on Queer Eye. I can't remember I like sent in my pitch for him, how amazing and extraordinary, how incredible, how good-hearted, even though he has this tough veneer for his radio show. And I'm like, this man needs to find his love. He needs to have his house organized, like he needs to upgrade, like all the things. I pitched him to be on Queer Eye, and I was so sad when they did not pick him because he would have been perfect for the show.
You know what? It's all good. I'm on enough TV stuff now, so I don't know if I need more of that.
And
I don't know
you
if
have me. I am your Queer Eye. I got
Yes,
you.
I did not have a life coaching session with Nicole last night because I was at a friend's house, and then I had a few like really important calls. But maybe me and Nicole could catch up this weekend for that. I need another life coaching session. All right, Nicole, I'm going to put you on the spot. What you got for me today? Something maybe that you don't think the listeners know about me, or you don't even know about me, even though you know a lot about me, that you think the listeners should know that maybe they don't know about me.
What is a skill or hobby you have that you're really good at that no one would know or guess?
Ping pong.
Seriously?
I was number one in the country for my age for table tennis when I was 10 and under, 12 and under, 14 and under. I won the U.S. Open and I won gold medals in the Junior Olympics. And I was featured on ESPN on a show that Tiger Woods was also featured on, a show called Sunkiss Kids. Yeah, ping pong. I won gold medals. I could have been an Olympian, but I quit when I was 16 and I picked up a golf club. Immoral says, will Brian ever run for public office? I would say 99% no. There's a 1% chance. Never say never. There's like 100 to 1 shot that I might. I'm not going to say never say never. So that's a good question.
I'm still in shock about your ping pong extraordinaire life.
I think if you put in my name in table tennis or ping pong, some stuff should come up. But yep. I would also, I'll give you another one too, poker. I'm a really good poker player. My first job in radio, I was getting paid like $20,000 a year. I was like 21 years old. And I made more money playing poker than I did in my radio job. So that's another skill that I do have. I don't play as much poker as I'd like to because I don't have the time anymore.
Do you have videos or photos from your ping pong days? And if so, can you bring those to your show one of these days?
Yeah.
I need to see this.
I think I have some pictures. I don't know if there's any video. I don't know if there's any video. My parents might have some stuff, but I know that.
Okay, Brian's parents, if you're listening, we need these videos and we need them stat. So please find it so we can watch evidence of this ping pong extraordinaire.
There is I do have some pictures when I had sponsorships, but there is video of me in the NBA Summer League here, where a guy by the name of Daryl Morey, who's the general manager of an NBA team in the NBA, and he was like called himself a professional ping pong player. He ran this ping pong tournament during NBA Summer League, and you had all these famous basketball players and coaches there. And anyway, I ended up beating his son, and then I destroyed him in the finals in front of like 500 people. And I had there's video of that. If you Google that, Brian Shapiro, Daryl Morey, I think you'll see some video of that. That was quite funny. That was the last year Daryl Morey did his ping pong tournament because he heard I was coming back. So,
oh my God, I'm obsessed. Thank you for telling us this amazing fact about yourself.
Yes, ping pong, poker. I'm trying to think if there's any weird like skills that I would have. Really, video games, eye-hand coordination sports. I have very good eye-hand coordination. Like in basketball, I was a great shooter. In high school, I played high school basketball, and they called me the plumber. Do you know why, Nicole? Because all I did was drain threes. So they called me the plumber. I got a really weird nickname because I did play some college tennis as well. Here's another story for you. I was struggling in this tennis match. I was playing poorly. I was tough on myself, and I was livid. And my coach at the time, rest his soul, screamed something that I would never forget when I was a sophomore in college. He said, He called me a squirrel. He said, "Come on, squirrel, climb that tree, grab that nut." The rest of my college career playing tennis, I was called the squirrel. That was my nickname. So that's another little story.
I am obsessed with. Okay, so I just want to say real quick to all the listeners, this is
Yep.
a great question to ask people that you know really well, and like I would ask them, what is a hobby or a skill that you have that most people don't know about? Because you just might learn something absolutely amazing, like I just did about Brian. I am
Yes.
so impressed right now, Brian.
And FYI, I wasn't called the nut grabber, just to be clear. I was, that's not what I was called. I
You're
wasn't
the
doing
nut
that.
collector.
Yeah, that was in high school, not college. No, I'm just kidding. Nicole, thank you so much for joining us. I love you to death. You're a
I love
great
you.
friend. You're one of my best friends, and I can't wait to see you next week. And you'll be seeing her in studio co-hosting with me in a few weeks. So, Nicole, great to see you as always. Have a great weekend, okay?
You too, Brian. Bye.
All right. I love that woman. She is the best. Nicole is a great friend, and she is awesome. All right, everybody, that's a wrap. We will see you on Monday. Please support my YouTube page. Go to my website, pushingthelimits.live, where you can donate. And I love you guys. I love PTL Nation. We'll be back at it live on Monday. My thanks to also not just Nicole, but Richard Patrick, my childhood musical idol from Filter. And we will see you guys on Monday. I think we're going to have Ron Filipkowski join us on Monday. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great weekend.